Friends, Americans, taxpayers, gather round because we need to talk about the GOP's latest magic trick, making $4 trillion disappear. Poof! Now, you might be thinking, John, that sounds like a lot of money to just vanish. And you'd be right. This isn't about finding loose change in the couch cushions of democracy. This is about budget baselines. And trust me, it's as exciting as it sounds. See, a budget baseline is like a financial starting line. It's what politicians compare future spending and tax plans to. Sounds simple, right? Well, buckle up, because the Republicans want to swap out the standard baseline for something called the current policy baseline. And it's about to get messy. Let's break it down. The usual suspect, the current law baseline, is a stickler for the rules. It assumes that tax cuts, like the ones passed in 2017, expire when they're supposed to. The current policy baseline, on the other hand, is more of a what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas kind of baseline. It pretends those tax cuts never expire, even though they're currently set to disappear faster than a politician's promise in an election year. The result? Using the current policy baseline makes extending the 2017 tax cuts look cost-free. It's like saying, sure, we ate all the cookies, but since we were planning on eating them anyway, it doesn't count. Now, you might be wondering why the Republicans are so keen on this accounting switcheroo. Well, it all comes down to a little something called reconciliation. It's a legislative process that lets them bypass the Senate filibuster, which is a fancy word for that thing that prevents bills from passing. Reconciliation has rules, though. One big one is that it can't increase the deficit after 10 years. But guess what? By using the current policy baseline, Republicans can pretend their massive tax cut extension doesn't add to the deficit, even though it totally does. It's like trying to lose weight by changing the numbers on the scale. And who supports this fiscal fantasy? Surprisingly, or maybe not, some very powerful Republicans. We're talking Speaker Mike Johnson, Senator Mike Crapo, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. The whole gang's here. They claim it's about accuracy, but let's be honest, it's about ramming through tax cuts without facing the consequences. Budget experts from across the political spectrum are crying foul. They argue that using the current policy baseline is misleading and doesn't change the fact that these tax cuts will blow a hole in the deficit. It's like claiming you're not overdrawn because you closed your eyes while checking your bank account. So there you have it, folks. The GOP is trying to pull a fast one with our money, and they're using some pretty creative accounting to do it. But remember, just because they say it's not magic doesn't mean it's not an illusion, and this illusion could cost us trillions.